Hello my friends, I promised you some of the good news from the front lines. Well, here we go. This is the full-scale counteroffensive breakthrough of Ukrainian army deep inside the Russian defense. For the last 24 hours, Ukraine was capable to liberate 2 of the villages, and I would say that this is the most difficult direction in Komar. To check it out, let's go to the Micro Center 3 analytic map, and here you see that definitely we have the confirmation about it, even with some of the data coming. Ukrainian flag was put over there in Tolstoy before Russia occupied this place, putting their flag, but Ukraine did it today. So this house here is this house in Tolstoy village. The job was done by the 5th Separate Motorized Brigade, and we also have some of the drone images. Maybe it's the same. No, it's not, but here are some of the Russian soldiers which were kicked out from the place. Yeah, sorry guys, this image I cannot really show you here. Well, anyways, geolocated confirmed, and it means that Russia doesn't have enough reinforcements to keep the front lines and to keep the pace of advancement. They're unable to control all of the areas where they advance, and they're kind of vulnerable to those small but counterattacks of Ukrainian army. So I would say here Ukraine moved by at least 7 kilometers per single day. That's significant, guys. That's a lot. Yeah, I'm not saying that Ukraine is taking advantage all around, and just recently Russia moved touching already this river of Vovcha. And here we have this update from the deep state military map source, but at the same time, if they advance over here, they lose in Tolstoy. So I'm still waiting for the confirmation from the deep state military map source, but usually they have delay, and if we have this confirmation of the real images, indeed it means that it happened. So geolocated confirmed, deep state will update the situation. I'm sure about it pretty much soon, maybe tomorrow. So yeah, this morning Ukraine started the offensive and later on expanded it to Tolstoy, cancelling several of the Russian attack vectors. Russians were forced to retreat. Plus Ukraine tries to counterattack in Troitsk, and yeah, recently Russia gained more territories on the way to Filia village. And yeah, now the situation is like this in this direction. And here we have the video itself with the Ukrainian soldiers waving Ukrainian flag, and this is how it was done. Again, 5th Separate Brigade did fantastic operation in this settlement. Awesome. Russians were forced to leave this area. And those who didn't, well, they stayed there forever. And during the counteroffensive, Ukraine imprisoned some of the Russian soldiers. Those are alive. They were captured and later on will be delivered to the prison for the further exchange, hopefully. There is also the light movement of Ukrainian army in the southern part, Zaporizhia direction, not far away from Sherbaki, you see. Ukraine took one of the tree line, the part of the road, and here we have the confirmation from what? From the Russian side. Yeah, some of the tank is there. Yeah, for me it's hard to understand what is happening there. Some sort of the vehicle or tank was... Well, actually, there was the Ukrainian position, as they say. Well, if there is Ukrainian position, it means that maybe it was just a clarification of military map. But what's about Kamensk, where Russians tried to break through? Well, they went close to Stepnogorsk before in the Ukraine counterattack, pushing them out, but still Kamensk is partially in a gray zone. And the deep state military map analytics tell that Russians again try to advance to Stepnogorsk. They want to take the settlement under their control, expanding the bridgehead. Here they use drones, but not successfully. By the way, Ukraine uses aviation to hit Russian supplies. As for example, here it was, behind the front lines, it was kaputted. Ukraine uses MiG-29 airplanes to drop aviation gliding bombs, sometimes also Sukhoi 25. And what's about this previous Russian breakthrough? Well, Deep State haven't got any sort of the update from this direction, so I would say it's more or less the same. Still, Ukrainian soldiers have lots of the job to do here, and it's not over. We also have the update from Zarychne. There was the battle which I showed you yesterday, tank against the infantry forces which were hiding in Zarychne itself, which means that so far we cannot say about successful Russian attack towards this place, but there is the expansion definitely of the red areas they're controlling. I would say that Russians mostly control Torsky already, but Zarychna is the last big village on the way to Liman, and Russia wants to go to Liman because from Liman they want to go to Radiogorodok and then Slavyansk, which is the part of the huge agglomeration of the town cities in Donbass area. But Putin wants to get this under control without any fights. He understands that he will have to waste hundreds of thousands of the soldiers here for the battle. So despite Ukrainian counterattack to Tolstoy, and yeah, as I say to you, we're waiting for the military map update, but it will be like that, Russians move towards Temerivka and Zaporizhzhia. So it was yesterday, it is today, quite significant movement here on the south. So we are at the situation where Russia goes all in, but they are still unable to control their forces properly and secure themselves. That is why Ukraine is capable for counterattacks, but at the same time, defense of Ukraine sometimes is weak. It has weak spots, and Russia is searching for those. For example, here on the south, I would say the defense is kind of weak. Here we have the border between Donetsk, Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia Oblast. But the good news that in Pokrovsk and Mirnograd, plus in Torets direction and Konstantinovka, there was no movement of the Russian army, I would say, for the last week. Russia is moving in Liman direction and also in Velika Novosilka direction, or I call it Komar direction, because there are two villages with a similar name, Komar and Veliki Komar. Okay, so electronic warfare doesn't help. It's just extra weight for those Russian motorcyclists, because this is the picture filmed by Ukrainian FPV drone. All of those antennas and batteries, they may not help because Ukraine is using the new sophisticated system for FPV drones. If one frequency is being jammed, drone tunes to another one, and it does it very quickly, so you do not lose the signal to the drone, and drone hits the target in any sort of the case. It's not the first time I see that those drone jammers are not effective. To some other news, we have the information about the burning oil refinery in Rostov Oblast. It is burning all the day. Ukraine visited this facility allegedly with Flamingo missiles. That is what Russians said, and that is what partially was confirmed by Ukrainian officials. Well, maybe it's like that. Plus, according to the latest information, Ukraine again launched the drone strikes on Russia. It is happening every night, but Russia also launches strikes on Ukraine. Alright guys, and now we have the information about what was kaputted in Sevastopol today. So here we have satellite image before, and this is after Russians put some sort of the supply hub there, or the warehouse. As it is reported, Russia launched their Shahed drones from this air club. Yeah, you cannot use this as the military base for fighter jets, as I mentioned this morning, but you can use it for launching Shahed drones. It's actually the good open spot, which was kaboomed by Ukraine. What is this? This is the usual supply road from the Russian side. You can see lots of the UAZ vehicles there, with lots and lots of the armored vehicles and everything being kaputted on the way. Just imagine the scale, yeah? How Ukraine is using those FPV drones to hit all of the Russian vehicles. This is Bukhanka van, yeah? We are in Bukhanka, sitting, enjoying the view. No armor, nothing, and the destiny of this Bukhanka, well, it will not live for a long time, it's understandable.
I've got an idea. Offer NATO membership to Russia. Of course, for this carrot, Trump would need to get everything he wants out of Putin regarding the end of hostilities, economic cooperation, and territorial disputes. Before you suggest I'm crazy for thinking about NATO and Russia as partners, the idea has been floated by foreign policy thinkers on the right and left for some time.
Is he turning orange like Trump? Matt Gaetz, or yeah, obviously he's Trump supporter. And by the way, Putin himself also mentioned before in, I think it was in 2004, something like that, that Russia wants to join NATO, this club of the countries. Maybe he said it like a joke or something, but yeah. But yeah, this nonsense is out there in American political life. For them, it's like a show what is happening in Ukraine. Like, guys, I don't have words. Here's the soldier of the future Russian NATO army, right? VIP. What does it mean? Why VIP? Yeah, it's the usual story for Russian soldiers that they don't have enough money, that they are coming back, and the Russian government doesn't pay them for health loss, so they start to beg for money, like on the open streets, writing VIP. The realities of Russia, of their society, their army, their care about their soldiers. And despite all of that, they still have some of the volunteers coming to join the Russian army. This is craziness. Oh, Russians released their Kraken again. This is the Russian soldier. No, not. Yes, Russian denazificator. According to the recent information, the restless Ural resident Raevsky returned to the special military operation zone once again. He had the limited contract for 6 months by the time it was possible. Now the contracts for Russian soldiers are unlimited, so he went again there and he will stay probably underground. Because it's the usual destiny for Russians there, and this is outstanding. For Russian denazificator, absolutely stunning. This Russian Nazi took part in a war against Ukraine actually since 2014. There was one video published where he criticized Putin, and later on this guy disappeared, and now he appeared again on the front lines. I think this time he will disappear too, but forever. And guys, please check out other videos I published today. It's about the strike on Crimea, it's about political situation around Ukraine, and let's make it 900,000 already. Just 1,000 subscribers are needed to reach 900,000, and we'll have 100,000 left till million on the channel. That's cool. So yeah, subscribe for the channel if you like what I do. And also guys, many thanks for supporting me on Patreon. You motivate me to film more and more videos. And now I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.